Hello, seventh graders. We are going to be talking about percent of change. So, first of all, the percent of change is going to be the percent a quantity increases or decreases. So sometimes you might have, like if I said 4 increased by 50%, on this one, you have that percent of increase and you're trying to find the new value. So you could think of what's 50% of 4, that's 2. And so if you increase 4 by 2, you get 6. Other times you're going to need to figure out the percent of change between two values. And so we can use a proportion to help us solve that. So first of all, one of our denominators will always be 100 because a percent is always over 100. And then for the other half of the ratio here, we want to always compare to our original amount. So our original amount will always be the denominator, and then the amount of change between the two values is going to be the numerator. So a percent of increase, if we increase, we're going up, so that's the percent that the original amount would increase by or go up. You don't really need to think of a separate proportion for that if you just consider the amount of change over the original is equal to the percent out of 100. So let's look at an example. Catherine buys t-shirts for her clothing store for $20. She sells them for $45 each. Find the percent of increase. So if I use a proportion, I'm going to be solving for my percent, so I'm solving for that number over 100. If I look at what the original price was, here she bought it for $20. So this is my starting number. So that means that's my denominator. And then now I need the amount of change from 20 to 45. So the amount of change from 20 to 45 would be 25. So really what we're doing is we're finding the difference between 45 and 20 to get 25. Now when I look at this, number one, I know that my percentage is going to be a number larger than 100% because the 25 is larger than the 20. I also see a mental math relationship here. So 20 times 5 would give me 100. So then 25 times 5 would be 125. And then because we're solving for a percent, we also have to make sure we have that percent sign on there. A percent of decrease is going to be the percent that the original amount decreases by. So again, you're always comparing to the original amount or the original number. And again, we don't need to really think of a separate proportion for that. It's just the amount of change as your numerator. The original amount is always the denominator, and then x over 100. So here there were 10 students who were semifinalists in the science fair. The judges selected 7 students to move on to the finals. Find the percent of decrease. So we're solving for a percent, which means I'm solving for some number out of 100. And then I originally had 10 students, and now I need the amount of change from 10 to 7. So I need the difference from 10 to 7, which is 3. And so then again, we have a problem where when I look at this, I see the fraction 3/10, and I know that 3/10 is going to be 30%. Or you could also look for a relationship. So 10 times 10 will give you 100, and 3 times 10 will give you the 30. And again, because we solved for a percent, we want to make sure we have that percent sign. So let's look at a couple of other ones. Last week, Kara's bean plant measured 2 inches. This week, it measured 5.5 inches. Find the percent of increase. So we're solving for the percent. So we have x over 100. And then the original number here was the first, like what it started out as. So it says last week it was 2 inches. So then that's our original. And this week it measured 5.5 inches. So we need to first find that amount of change from 2 to 5.5, or the difference between 5.5 and 2. So that amount of change is 3.5. And then when we have this proportion, then this would be one where we can use our proportion solving strategies. You might be able to see a relationship, like 2 times 50 gives you 100, so 3.5 times 50. You could also use your cross products here. And then I believe this one is going to be 175, if I'm doing my mental math correctly. Yes. All right, so let's look at the next one. The math book was originally $10. The bookstore placed it on sale for $5. Find the percent of decrease. We're solving for a percent, so we're solving for that number over 100. It was originally $10. And then the amount of change, all right, from 10 to 5 is 5. So we have 5/10, which is going to be 50%. So again, just keep in mind that this ratio over here is always the amount of change to the original number. Look at one more. The Stern family planned on an 85-mile road trip. They decided to stop after 62 miles at the History Museum. Find the percent of decrease. Round to the nearest whole number. So we want the amount of change from 85 to 62, which is 23. And out of the 85. And so then we use one of our proportion solving strategies. You could use cross products, look for a different relationship. But when I do this, then we will end up getting I made a mistake somewhere. Hold on. 27 point, and then we have like kind of a long decimal on this one, so it says round to the nearest whole number. So then I want to decide, is this closer to 27 or 28, and this is closer to 27%. So that's a little bit about percent of change. If you have further questions, make sure that you're coming in before or after school and let me know so that I can help you. Have a great day.